Okay, hi, I'm Ben Madison. Welcome to the unboxing of The White Tribe, a new game from White Dog Games, on the Bush War fought in Rhodesia in southern Africa between 1966 and 1979. The game actually continues to 1980, as it says on the box, but historically the war ended in 1979 with a political settlement, which is definitely part of the game, as you will see. Just come out recently from White Dog Games. This is the box. Again, another Blue Panther product. Blue Panther doing the physical production of the game. Great job that they've done on the box. So let's open it up, see what we've got. Actually, I'll show you the back of the box. That's got a typical blurb, rather lengthy blurb, covering what was a very political struggle between the white racist minority government that was running Rhodesia at the time and the forces of the two competing black liberation movements, which were both trying to overthrow the whites and defeat each other, which made this a really interesting conflict in modern Cold War history. The two different African factions, one was backed by Russia, the other was backed by China, so there was an ideological competition going on there too. So let's get inside the box here, and we've got the rules, rule book, lots of color, not a whole lot of illustrations, but we've got descriptions of the counters and lots of green text. That is the designer's viewpoint and designer's historical notes, but also some notes on how the game itself came to be designed. And then at the end, we have a historical essay, which, if you're familiar with my games, there's always a historical essay. Very proud to say I made contact with a veteran of the Rhodesian Army, the white minority army, and he approved of the game very much so. He play tested it, and he said that historically speaking, I pretty much got the story right. So it's a very cynical game. Both sides come out savaged by the verdict of history, I think. You had an anachronistic white minority clinging to power, being replaced by a greedy, genocidal dictator, Robert Mugabe, who managed to become dictator for life until he was overthrown in 2017. So it's a sad story on both sides. But it's a fascinating political conflict because, here's your die, nice blue die, because this is a game which is not just a war game. Your objective in this game is not to defeat the enemy militarily. It's not to defeat the guerrillas militarily. It is to hold them off until you can put the pieces in place to achieve a domestic political settlement, so that you can bring in the black majority to help run the country in a way that does not deprive either group of power. And so you're trying to fight this knife-edge political struggle. You can do lots of political things in this game. You hold elections, you pass bills, you do all of that with the same tension that you're doing to actually fight the military campaign. And so you have to win the people over, you have to win the black majority over, while at the same time trying not to lose the support of the white minority, because they're the ones who are propping up your government, not only in the armed forces, but in the simple fact that they're the only ones who can vote. So this is, it's not just a war game, it is a society and political system at war game. So here's the map. You can see the Republic of Rhodesia, and then there's outlying areas: Zambia, Botswana, South Africa, Mozambique, and Tete, which is a region of Mozambique that sort of drifted in and out of Portuguese control during the game. Mozambique and Tete form part of the modern nation of Mozambique, and at that time it was a Portuguese colony. That was sort of the beginning of the end for the minority government in Rhodesia, when the Portuguese in 1974 had a military coup and were kicked out of Mozambique. Moving on, we have the counters. Again, really good counter art. I did the counter art, so I'm not bragging, but the physical production of the counters by Blue Panther is, as always, superb. Extremely thick counters. You can punch one out. You can see you can almost stand them up on their end. These are really thick, high quality, heavy duty counters. So you've got the guerrilla forces up here. You've got the Rhodesian forces and their South African and Portuguese allies. Lots of political stuff down here. That's what all this is. Again, you're passing bills, you're trying to create a political climate where you can solve this conflict by compromise, not just by armed force. Here we've got your charts and tables, fairly standard for one of my games. Charts and tables here. This is your random events. This is in the form of a newspaper, the Rhodesia Herald, which was actually the leading paper in Rhodesia at the time. It's a random events table. You've got your combat results table, fairly conventional. Again, just add up your attack strength. There's no defense strength. Just add up the total attack strength, roll a die, see what the outcome is, and see also these little airplane icons indicate that there might be damage to the Rhodesian Air Force. Very detailed sequence of play, as with all these games that I've done for White Dog. It's kind of very sequential. Follow the steps. Consult the rules when necessary. You can't go wrong. We've got another chart here. This is your turn record track right here. Each turn is a year, and the turns specify when you have elections in foreign countries. The Americans have their elections every 4 years. Congressional elections are circles, presidential elections are rectangles. South Africa also has elections. When you have a Rhodesian election, then your result is shown here on this display. You see how much support the ruling party has, the Rhodesian Front, and that gives you different die rolls to pass either conservative or liberal legislation. And sometimes you want to do one, sometimes you want to do the other. If you do everything liberal to please the majority, you will lose the war. If you do everything conservative to please the minority, you will lose the war. It's a delicate balancing act. So that is the White Tribe. It is a game, a very unique game, because it does try to straddle this political military boundary. Clausewitz famously said, war is the continuation of politics by other means. This is a game which really hammers that theme home. So if you're interested in African history, if you're interested in Cold War history, and if you're interested in just modern geopolitics, this is the White Tribe from White Dog Games. Thanks, I'm Ben Madison, and have a great time.